All right, so I'm going to grab area code 816. Hello, you're on the show.
Hey, Duane, this is Will again. We talked last week.
Hey, Will.
A couple of times. Hey, I just had a quick question. I just want to know, and you were kind of alluding to this, just want to know, when does it stop? Like, I watched your videos, and I've done the absolute thinking and hybrid no contact, and I do not reach out. I don't, but it still seems like in new and creative and mysterious ways, it's still like boom, it's like you do.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. So I just would like to know that. Thank you. I'll
be
quiet now.
No, thanks for the call. So here's the thing, guys, and Will brought up an excellent point. The caller brought up an excellent point, that once you start learning their tactics and you start implementing things to deal with it, most of the time they try something different. They don't normally just go, oh no, it didn't work. They figured me out. I'm going to stop. No, they ramp it up. And they ramp it up in unique and interesting ways that you generally don't anticipate, that just completely take you for a spin. You're like, what? I mean, that's the same thing that happened with me. It's like, okay, I stopped interacting with her. Then she started trying to chase me back around. Then I put a stop to that. Then it turned to the kids. Then it turned to the bills, the medical bills I was alluding to earlier, and all those things. And it feels like, and what he just said is exactly the way I felt. And so when does it stop? Here's the key. What happens is you get to the point that they just can't affect you anymore. That when they do their stupid stuff, even if it does like flare up real quick, it's like, yeah. I was talking with Debbie about this yesterday. I mean, there's some things going on right now to where it's just like, I'd almost like to be able to feel sympathy for the person that my ex is, but it's so much damage, so many problems that have been created, not even in my life, but just watching what my kids have to go through. It's just really, really tough. The thing is, just to end this on I guess a positive note, it does end. And what happens is you get to the point where they just can't affect you anymore. It's like you get to this point where you have this defense where it's like, you know what? You are not worth my time. Yes, you're a yapping dog that's running around my feet. Maybe you're nipping at my toes, but you learn to put better shoes on, and you learn to wear higher, boots that protect your ankles, and you adapt to minimize the thing. It doesn't stop. They don't stop. They don't wake up one day and say, oh, wow, I shouldn't have done that. It just continues. And, it's just really tough. But it changes. See, we change. You change. You get to the point, like I said, you get to the point to where you realize that this just isn't, you're not going to give them that space in your head and in your heart anymore. And you say, enough is enough. I'm not going to do it. And if you're at the early parts of this and I say that, you're like, okay, but how do you get there? It goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning part of this particular show, where you try everything and you finally just realize you're beating your head against the wall. It's not working. And the only choice you have is over you and how you're going to move forward. And when you get to that point, you can turn around and say, okay, I'm not going to give you that power. And that's what's happened in my situation. And even to the point that I'm not even, I used to go through this phase where I would want to show the ex how good I'm doing, that I'm happy. I don't care anymore. I don't care. The idea that if she felt that she was getting one over on me and she was winning in her mind used to just drive me crazy. I don't care. You think you think you're winning? Believe it. Because if you do, you leave me alone. So if I have to go around and I have to be really standoffish And, because you can kind of approach it a different way. Some people will go in and it's like, all right, I'm going to pretend like everything's great. I'm going to be like, oh, everything's great. Everything's wonderful. The problem is every time I did that, you know what happened? Is like, hey, wait a minute. You're having a better life? How dare you? How dare you? And it would just this S show would start up and make my life so much complicated. So I'm like, hey, if she wants to think that she's winning and I'm a disgruntled, angry, bitter person, fine. Fine. If that makes it to where she leaves me alone, great. The biggest problem is if she ever finds this channel and realizes that I'm doing that, it's probably not going to be a lot of fun for me, which will be a huge test to see how I do. Have I actually mastered all these skills? I think I've actually done pretty well. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Break the Cycle with DSD podcast. I do this show live every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific time. If you want to catch a full show, tune into this channel, subscribe, and hit the like button. Or you can find the podcast version on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or your other favorite podcast directories. Hope to see you on the next show.